Yo,
All right, happy Feast of Tabernacles. It's the first day of Feast of Tabernacles. Put my shirt up. It's another opportunity for us to come together and hear word of the Lord, the truth, word of truth that is given to us by the Most High God. All honor goes to the Father through the Son, whose name is Yahushua. In him lies the only hope for salvation. We know that it is obtained by grace through faith, not of works, lest anyone should boast, and given freely as a gift to all who obey him. We understand that if you do not obey him, that means that you do not believe. In this state, you should expect no good thing from the Most High. However, anything that you do get, whether it be a gift of tongues, a gift of prophecy, or any supernatural experience that you may have, it can and will be used against you in the day of judgment. As I said, peace to those that are watching in on the camera, to those that are scattered around the world that we don't even know about, to those that might join the chat later. But no peace to the wicked. The only thing we say to them is repent that they might live. We early today, you know what I mean? A few people, you know what I'm saying, probably get caught off guard by the time. That's all right though. Y'all is good. Let's go ahead and get started. Go ahead and get through this. This is the Feast of Tabernacles, right? We're given this day as a memorial to remind us that our people after leaving Egypt were in tents, right? We slept in tents. And we see of a tent, like what does that represent for us? It represents a temporary place for us. In a spiritual sense, it represents a hope for what is to come, right? And that's exactly what saves us, right? Peter kind of talks a little bit about that hope in Second Peter. Let's go to Second Peter chapter 1. This is Second Peter chapter 1. We're gonna start at about verse 5. This is the hope. These are the attributes that come from the hope that'll cause us to never fall. This is Second Peter chapter 1. Give me about verse 5.
what is happening to my life? And besides this, giving all diligence, add to your faith virtue, and to virtue knowledge, and to knowledge temperance, and to temperance patience, and to patience godliness, and to godliness brotherly kindness, and to brotherly kindness charity. For if these things be in you and abound, they make you that you shall neither be barren nor unfruitful in the knowledge of our Lord Yahushua the Messiah. But he that
Right?
lacketh,
So that is what our hope gives us, right? If we have pure hope, perfect hope, then this is what our hope gives us. It starts to produce all these things in us. And and if we do those things, we know that we will never fall. Right? Keep going, watch this.
but he that lacketh these things is blind and cannot see far off, and has forgotten that he was purged from his old sins.
Right? So if you lack these things, that means you don't see afar off. In other words, you're not hoping, right? Hope is looking forward, looking to what's to come. You know what I'm saying? He's saying if you don't have these things, then that means you don't have hope. The book always gives us a way to define ourselves and define what things are, because I think Yah knows that Satan's job is to come and try to confuse us. So what he does is he don't just tell us have hope and don't leave it up to our own imagination of what hope is. Right? He kind of tell us here, like, listen, you gotta have hope. And listen, if you don't do these things, if your life don't look like this, trust me, you don't have hope. Even if you think you do, you don't have hope. He telling you if you don't have these things, you don't even see it far off. In other words, you don't see hope. You're not hoping down the road. Right? Keep going. Watch this.
Wherefore, the rather, brethren, give diligence to make your calling and election sure. For if you do these things, you shall never fall.
That's right.
For
Keep going.
so an entrance shall be ministered unto you abundantly into the everlasting kingdom of our Lord and Savior, Yahushua the Messiah. Wherefore I will not be negligent to put you always in remembrance of those things, though you know them, and be established in the present truth. Yeah,
Right? He said, look, it's always my job to keep reminding you. Right? He said, when he said put you in remember, he's saying it's always my job to keep reminding you about these things. Right? He said, because you already know them, but man, it's my job to keep reminding you about this stuff. Right? Keep going.
wherefore I will not be negligent to put you always in remembrance of these things, though you know them, and be established in the present truth. Yea, I think it meet, as long as I am in this tabernacle, to stir you up by putting you in remembrance.
Right? So he said, I think it's meet. In other words, I think it's appropriate as long as I'm in this tabernacle. So you'll see that just like our fathers that was in the wilderness when we slept in tents, Peter now, because he has the gospel and he's looking forward to the hope, he sees himself as in a tabernacle, as like a tent, right? Tabernacle is like saying tent. So he sees himself as being in like a tent, right? So he says, while in this tabernacle, right? Speaking spiritually now, watch this.
Moreover, I will endeavor that you may be able after my decease to have these things always in remembrance.
Right? So although he sees himself in the tabernacle, that wasn't always the case, right? But that's a byproduct of having hope. When you hope, right? If your hope is sure, and when we say hope, when we the way we use hope, like in the world, it's kind of like it's more like a wish, right? Man, I hope that happens. It's not really the hope that the Bible describes, right? When we say, "Oh, I hope that happens," it's more like I wish that would happen, right? It would be very, very nice if that happened. I really, really want that to happen. That's different from the hope that the Bible describes. The hope that the Bible describes is saying, I know that's going to happen. Right? There's no doubt in my mind that that's going to happen. That's the hope that the Bible describes. The hope, the way we use hope, is like, man, that'd be nice. I hope that happens. That would be so great for me. I would really, really prefer that. You know what I'm saying? That's how we use hope. But that's why it's important to understand the book and how the book is defined. Right? Grab first John chapter give me 1 John chapter 3. Because we have the word, right? And if the Most High God don't let Satan change much of the word, right, then the only thing he can do is make us believe the definitions are different. That's why it's important to understand the word, because the Most High God lays out the definitions for it. This is 1 John chapter 3. Give me verse 1.
Behold, what manner of love the Father has bestowed upon us, that we should be called the sons of God.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, the world knoweth us not, because it knew him not.
Mm-hmm.
Beloved,
When he say the world knoweth us not, what he's talking about is people don't recognize us. Right? When people look at us and they see the way that we behave as if it's strange. You know what I'm saying? They look at us like we strange. Like, man, why y'all act like that? Why y'all don't eat this? Why y'all don't do this? You don't ever cuss? Right? You always do that. You always do that. It's like that's strange to the world. So what he's saying is, well, the world don't recognize us, and that's appropriate because the world didn't recognize our master. Let's keep going. Watch this.
beloved, now are we the sons of God, and it does not yet appear what we shall be. But we know that when he shall appear, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is.
Right? So he's saying, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's not a doubt in his mind about what's going to happen. The only thing is, I don't know what it looks like when it's gonna happen. Right? So he's saying, look, man, I don't know what we gonna change into, but eventually we gonna change. We gonna look like him. That's all I know. Right? But I don't know exactly. I can't describe that to you right now. But eventually we're gonna change. So that's where the idea of a tabernacle comes from, because he's saying, like, this is a tent. I'm gonna get a house eventually. Right? My body is just a tent. This is temporary. This is just to get me through the wilderness spiritually, right? Spiritually, this is just the wilderness. And then eventually I get into the spiritual promised land. And that's when Yahushua returns and we're changed. Right? A lot of what we talked about on the Day of Trumpets. Right? Will be changed. The book saying in a twinkling of an eye. So that changes this tent, which will be our human body, right? The son of the body that we inherited from Adam. That changes in the instant to the body that we will inherit through the last Adam, which is Yahushua. Right? Keep going. Watch what he says next.
And every man that has this hope in him purifies himself even as he is pure.
Right? So when you have this hope, when the hope that purifies you is looking forward to the Messiah, right? When that becomes a fact to you and be like, okay, you know what? When the Messiah get back here, my body is going to be changed. I'm going to shed out of the tent that I'm in right now, right? When that becomes a fact to you, it changes your mind. So it puts you in the mindset that we just read from Peter, where Peter is saying, listen, you know what I'm saying? You gonna have faith. You gotta have brotherly kindness. You gotta have love, right? You gotta have all these different things that he listed out. He says, if you have those things, you will never fall. You won't lack anything. You will never fall. In other words, you're not going to sin anymore, right? If you have all those things. Give me 2 Corinthians chapter 5. Is it 1 Corinthians? Give me 2 Corinthians chapter 5. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, start me at verse 1. Because Peter is trying to let you know, like, if you have these things are in the forefront of your mind, if these are the ways that you drive your behavior, right? If those are the spirits that you walk by, the spirits of peace and the spirit of love and the spirit of brotherly kindness and the spirit of virtue and the spirit of all of everything that he listed. I can't remember all of them off the top of my head, right? But everything that he listed, if those spirits guide you, right, then you will never fall. So that comes with a mindset, because now in your mind, it's fact, right? It's not like, oh, I really wish that Yahushua would come back, or it would be that would be my preference that Yahushua came back. No, it's hope as in, I know that's happening. I just don't know what it looks like exactly. I can't wait to see it. Right? When that becomes a fact to you, now the tent is less valuable. Right? When you know you got something else coming, the tent is less valuable. Right? Every year we do raises. We do raises every year. You know what I'm saying? And at my job. And it's based off of, your performance and all that. So it's like we know what the raise is. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, we know that the raise is coming. We just don't know what the raise is every year. Right? And then the only way you won't get one is if your performance say that you should, it just says that you shouldn't get one. Usually, I mean, you about to get fired. You know what I'm saying? But if your performance say, you know what I'm saying, like you shouldn't get a raise, then that means, you know what I'm saying, like you just not going to get one. Some years that thing could be larger. You know what I'm saying? Back when my man Trump was in all, you know what I'm saying? Them things was huge. You know what I'm saying? Doing nice raises. You know what I'm saying? Nowadays, you know what I'm saying? Not so much. You know what I'm saying? Nowadays, they try to, you know what I'm saying, just skim a little off the top. You know what I'm saying? But a raise, you have an opportunity for a raise. So before that raise kick in, everybody got to be sat down with, discuss their performance, and we discuss all that's going on. And you know what I'm saying? They look at me and they say, Philip, you did this, you did this, you did this, you did this, you didn't do this, you didn't do this, you didn't do this. Therefore, this is what you got. As soon as I see that, right? As soon as I see that, guess what? I got a hope that some point in usually March, February, that I'm going to get that raise. Right? So now my behavior changes, right? I start thinking about, okay, this year we got to save up for this. My budgeting changes. My behavior changes. I start cutting off certain things, turning on certain things, planning for the next thing. My whole behavior thing, but my current check that I get is less valuable because I know this is going to be different soon. Like I'm already calculating this is what my check is going to be. Now I'm not focused on what I'm making now. I'm focused on what I'm going to be making in the next couple months. Right? And that's what happens to everyone. When you know, like something that you already have, it's not when you get When you get paid, right? You get your paycheck. Is your mind focused on that paycheck that you already got, or is it focused on the next paycheck that you're gonna get in a week or 2 weeks, however often you get paid? Right? You always looking for the next one, what's coming next, the hope. Right? And that's no different here. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 5. You know what I'm saying? And just watch how Paul looks at this same hope, but he looks at it in a very different way, right? Peter called it tabernacle. Now watch how Paul looks at it. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 1.
For we know that if our earthly house of this tabernacle were dissolved, we have a building of God, a house not made with hands, eternal in heaven. For in this we groan earnestly, desiring to be clothed upon with our house which is from heaven. If so be that being clothed we shall not be found naked.
Mm-hmm.
For we that are in this tabernacle do groan, being burdened, not for that we would be unclothed, but clothed upon, that mortality might be swallowed up of life.
Mm-hmm.
Now he that has brought us for the selfsame thing is God, who also has given unto us the earnest of the Spirit. Therefore, we are always confident, knowing that whilst we are at home in the body, we are absent from Yahuwah.
Right? So what he's saying is, like he's saying, I have full confidence if this feels like your home, right? If this tent, right, the body is what he's talking about, but if this tent, this temporary place feels like your home, then you're absent from God. Right? You know that while you are here, right, you are not with God. Did I lose you, or you just put your screen out?
I'm still here.
All right. You know what I'm saying? And you're absent from the Most High. So that's important to understand from Paul's perspective. Now watch what he says next.
We are confident, I say, and willing rather to be absent from the body and to be present with the Lord.
Keep
Wherefore,
going.
we labor that whether present or absent, we may be accepted of him.
Right? So now his mindset is, I'd much rather not be in this body, in this tent, in this tabernacle, because I know that the day that happens, we talked about it on the day of trumpet study, right? On the day that we are changed and we no longer are in the tabernacle, and therefore we have our permanent bodies that we get from Yahushua, that same day we will all be gathered and be with the Messiah. So what he's saying is, I know that as long as I have this body, I'm not with the Messiah. Because I have this hope. I have the hope that the Messiah is going to come back and he's going to change my body. Right? So because I have that hope, it purifies him. So what he's saying is, I know having this tabernacle is me being absent. And if I consider this my home, then it looks like this is the best thing. He said, no, this is not my home. This is just a tabernacle. It's temporary. I have a home waiting for me. Therefore, I'd much rather be present with you, Yahushua, right? And by being present with Yahushua, that means I'm absent from this tabernacle. That means this tabernacle has gone away, because that's how it works. We know the tabernacle goes away when we see Yahushua, right? So he said, whether I'm absent or present, my main focus is to be acceptable to him. That is the hope. That's the same thing that Peter's talking about. That's saying you will never fall, right? Keep going. Watch this.
For we must all appear before the judgment seat of the Messiah, that everyone may receive the things done in this body according to that he has done, whether it be good or bad. Knowing therefore the terror of the Lord, we persuade men. We are made.
Knowing therefore what?
The terror of the Lord.
He said, knowing therefore the terror of Yahuwah. Right? What he's saying is, he said, man, this guy is scary, and I know he will punish us. Therefore, I'm getting it together right now to be pleasing to him, whether absent or present. because I know I'm going to have to see the man one way or another. I'd much rather see him if I'm acceptable to him. So he said, knowing therefore the terror of the Lord, watch this.
We persuade men, but we are made manifest unto God, and our trust also are made manifest in your consciences.
Right? So he's saying we persuade men. In other words, we try to convince these people who got questions. This is what you should believe. This is what the truth is. This is how Yahushua works. This is the work that he's done. He's saying, knowing the terror, knowing what's about to come on both sides, right? We have to persuade men. We have to persuade people to look, this is the way you're supposed to be going, not that way. And he said, I hope that I've been made manifest to you. In other words, made obvious to you. So in other words, he's saying you should be able to look at me and see exactly what's going on. You should be able to hear what I'm saying, watch what I do, and know exactly what's going on. Right? Because that is the tabernacle. Right? That's the temporary dwelling place, which he has the hope that this will change. So now he's separated and the world don't know him. It doesn't recognize him. Right? So he's saying basically, you should be able to look at my behavior. You should be able to look at the way I communicate, the way I do things, and just see, oh, that guy's different. It should be obvious to you. It should be made manifest by Yahushua to you. Right? And that's the goal. Right? In this tabernacle, we got to be set apart because our God, because we know the terror. Right? That terror gets us out of this temper. It gets us through the wilderness. We have to fear God. We have to fear that terror. Otherwise, we'd be repenting back and forth. Oh, God, I'm not going to do that again. Then do it again. Oh, God, I'm not going to do that because we don't fear. Right? That fear hasn't become strong enough to it. Anything else we fear. Look, when our mamas whooped our butts, our dad whooped our butts, right? That put us in a place of fear. That changed behavior. It's only when we didn't fear. Right? Either we know the punishment, and you know what? I'll take the punishment. Because that means that you didn't fear. Or I don't believe I'll be punished. That means you don't fear. When you believe it though, right? When the hope is such that if I believe and I behave the way Yahushua commanded me to, I will see the kingdom and my body will be changed. But if I don't, I burn forever in hell. When you believe that, right? When you know that to be a fact, it changes you. It changes the way you behave. That's what it looks like when you know it to be a fact. When you don't know it to be a fact, that's when you just repenting back and forth, right? Same thing with Pharaoh, right? Remember Moses grabbed Exodus chapter 9. This is Exodus chapter 9. You remember Moses went on to Pharaoh, he knowing the terror of God, right? We don't have to get it, but how did Moses know the terror of God? You don't remember when Moses came from the mountain, the Most High God told him everything. Like, look, you're going to go to Pharaoh. You're going to say this. You're going to show him these miracles. You're going to do this. He's not going to listen to you, but that's all right. I'm going to show my strength. Gave him the whole game plan. And then he said, all right, go. Meet your brother in the wilderness. Then he going out to meet him. You know what I'm saying? And as he go to meet him, the Most High God strike him where he almost dead. He strike Moses, the man that he just told to do all these great things. Before he had a chance to do it, Most High God about to kill him. You got to imagine Moses sitting there like, what is all this about? I thought you want me to do all these great things. And he said, you didn't circumcise your kids. Like, dang, you know what I'm saying? Like, I thought you just gave me this whole plan, everything you're going to do, and you about to kill me before I have a chance to do it? You the one that asked me to do this stuff. Most High God, boom, nah, you didn't circumcise your kids. So his wife had to go and circumcise his kids real quick. Otherwise, Moses would have been dead. He wouldn't have had a chance to do nothing. Most High God probably would have used somebody else to do it. So Moses knew the terror of the Most High God. He was aware of it. He had believed it, right? I know that I believe both of these things about to happen. One, I believe with all my heart we about to go to the promised land. And on the other hand, I believe this man will kill each and every one of us. He is not playing if we don't listen. So knowing therefore the terror, guess what he did? He went to go convince Pharaoh. He has to persuade men. He went to go Convince the children of Israel. Convince the Egyptians. This is chapter 9. This is Exodus chapter 9. Give me verse what I want. 13. Give me verse 13.
And Yahuwah said unto Moses, Rise up early in the morning and stand before Pharaoh, and say unto him, Thus says Yahuwah, God of the Hebrews, Let my people go that they may serve me. For I will at this time send all my plagues upon the heart and upon thy servants, upon thine heart and upon thine servants, and upon thy people, that thou mayest know that there is none like me in all the earth. For now I will stretch out my hand, that I may smite thee and thy people with pestilence, and thou shalt be cut off from the earth. And in every deed of this cause have I raised thee up, for to show in thee my power, that my name may be declared throughout all the earth. As yet exalted thou thyself against my people, that thou wilt not let them go. Behold, tomorrow about this time I will cause it to rain a very grievous hail, such as has not been in Egypt since the foundation thereof, even until now.
Right? He said it's never go. Look, the hail that y'all about to get, y'all have never seen hail like this. You're gonna have stuff falling out of ground, falling out of the sky that you've never seen before. You know how we think of hail, we kind of think of like ice, right? Ice coming down and it hits stuff. He's saying the type of hail you about to see, you've never seen it in Egypt before. You know what I'm saying? The Egyptian probably walking around like, man, we done seen a little bit of hail before. What you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Ice, you know what I'm saying? A little ice come down, hit the, yeah, man, we done seen some stuff like that before. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no big deal. Hell, most like God trying to let them know, this is not the regular hell. You know what I'm saying? The hell you about to see coming from the sky, you have never seen nothing like this in Egypt ever. You know what I'm saying? So now the people gotta take that into consideration. This is not the first plague, right? It's been several plagues that they've seen already. So the people are at a point now where they're beginning to see the terror of Yahuwah. And they also can hear the hope based off of what Moses is saying. So they have to be in a place to believe it. Right? Watch this. Did I lose you? It looks like I lost you. Keep going.
Send therefore now and gather thy cattle and all that thou hast into the field. For upon every man and beast which shall be found in the field and shall not be brought home, the hail shall come down upon them, and they shall die. He that feared the word of Yahuwah amongst the servants of Pharaoh made his servants and his cattle flee into the houses.
Right? He said, he that feared Yahuwah among the servants of Pharaoh. In other words, everybody, Moses was talking to Pharaoh. All his servants that heard it, they look like, nah, man, we done seen enough already. The man done turned the water into darn blood. Man came back and he put frogs all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Put bugs all over everybody. You know what I'm saying? It's all types of stuff this guy done. He's the real deal. This Moses guy and whatever God he served, I don't know nothing about what they doing, but listen, what he say happens. So if he say some hell that we ain't never seen about to come out and it's gonna start killing stuff, man, listen, the ones that feared him, they start telling their servant, they start, look, bring the cattle in, make sure everybody is covered, make sure they're somewhere safe, because it's about to be stuff dropping out of the sky on us. And from what I hear, it's gonna be something that we never heard before. We never seen before. So they don't know what it looks like. They don't know what's about to be coming out of the sky. They don't know how big the hell it's gonna be. The only thing they know is the Most High God said it, and they're terrified of it. So therefore, knowing the terror, they change their behavior. Right? It causes a change in their behavior. Right? Keep going. Watch this.
And Yahuwah said unto Moses, Stretch forth thine hand toward heaven, that there may be hail in all the land of Egypt, upon man and upon beast, and on every herb of the field throughout the land of Egypt. And Moses stretched forth his rod toward heaven, and the Lord sent thunder and hail, and fire ran along upon the ground. And the Lord rained hail upon the land of Egypt. So there was hail and fire mingled with the hail, very grievous, such as there was none like it in all the land of Egypt since it became a nation.
It's thunder and fire and hail, all types of stuff happening in the sky. and it's tearing stuff up. Watch this.
And the hail smote throughout all the land of Egypt, all that was in the field, both man and beast. And the hail smote every herb of the field, and brake every tree of the field. Only in the land of Goshen, where the children of Israel were, was there no hail. And Pharaoh sent and called for Moses and Aaron and said unto them, I have sinned this time. Yahuwah is righteous, I and my people are wicked. Entreat Yahuwah, for it is enough, that there be no more mighty thunderings and hail, and I will let you go, and you shall stay no longer. And Moses said unto him, As soon as I am gone out from the city, I will spread abroad my hands unto Yahuwah, and the thunder shall cease. Neither shall there be any more hail, that thou mayest know how that the earth is Yahuwah's. But as for you and your servants, I know that you will not fear Yahuwah God. And the flax and the barley was smitten, for the barley was in the ear, and the flax was bold. But the wheat and the rye were not smitten, for they were not grown up. And Moses went out of the city from Pharaoh and spread abroad his hands unto Yahuwah, and the thunderings and hail ceased, and the rain was not poured upon the earth. And when Pharaoh saw that the rain and the hail and the thunders were ceased, he sinned yet more and hardened his heart, and he and his servants. The heart of Pharaoh was hardened, neither would he let the children of Israel go, as Yahuwah had spoken by Moses.
Right? So now Pharaoh went back, and he first repented. He's like, all right, man, look, I'll let y'all go. You know what I'm saying? I seen some real stuff, man. I'll let y'all go. And then as soon as it let up, he went back to his old ways. Right? There's always like events and little things that happen in our life, stuff that get us down emotionally or stuff that happens, and it get us back on our grind. That's good. That's what it's for. That's what the Most High God do it for. Right? Most High God put these things on us to remind us, like, no, I'm God. You should be listening to it. So when something happened to us, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, I lost my job, man. I knew I shouldn't have been living like this. This God trying to tell me I need to get my life back together. So what you start doing? You know what I'm saying? You start tuning into the studies. You start going to the, you know what I'm saying, your sister church. You start doing all these different things. Just, you know what I'm saying, do whatever you can to get closer to the Most High God. And then at that point, you like, you know what? Good. Things get better in your life. You get you a new job, better job actually. You know what I'm saying? Then what happened? You go right back to your sins. Right? Because you're like Pharaoh. Right? Pharaoh's mindset wasn't I believe in the hope. It was just that I was temporarily terrified of the Most High God, said whatever I need to do to get away from the punishment, and I went back to it. We have to be focused on the hope, on what is to come. And that's what the Day of Tabernacles is about. Right? It's about reminding us that we were intense when we came out of Egypt. Right after these events, eventually Pharaoh let the people go after the Most High God killed all the firstborn children. He said, fine, y'all just go. Take whatever you're going to take, go. All the Egyptians took everything. Right? And the book said we left with a mixed multitude. So some of those Egyptians that feared Yahuwah went with us. They looking like, nah, man, I'm going with y'all. Right? Because they fear Yahuwah and they didn't want to be under Pharaoh. Some of those Gentiles. So we took them with us. Right? It's supposed to remind us of that time. Remind us of that history that we had. Because in that, then we can set ourselves up for the hope. Right? Spiritually, it's the same. We're in this tabernacle, but we hope one day we'll go into the promised land. The promised land where Yahushua will guide us. You know what I'm saying? Yahushua will be our king, the Messiah. Right? But in order to latch on to that hope, you have to know, you have to believe it. You know what I'm saying? You have to know it to be the case. You know what I'm saying? So being able to humble ourselves during the day of our during the week of tabernacles, right? It kind of prepares our minds and our hearts for that purpose. Grab Leviticus chapter 23. This is Leviticus chapter 23. We're gonna do verse 33. Right? We're gonna kind of read about what the purpose is of this day. What did the Most High God command? How did he describe it for? It's Leviticus chapter 23, verse 33.
And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, The 15th day of the 7th month shall be the Feast of Tabernacles for 7 days unto Yahuwah.
All right, so he said the 15th day of the 7th month, going to be the Feast of Tabernacle for 7 days unto Yahuwah. Watch this.
On the first day shall be a holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein. 7 days ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto Yahuwah. On the 8th day shall be a holy convocation unto you, and ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto Yahuwah. It is a
All right.
solemn
So we
assembly.
keep it for 7 days, right? And then there's an extra day. There's an 8th day that which is also a Sabbath for us. So today is a Sabbath because this is the first day. And then you'll have tomorrow being the weekly Sabbath. And then you have next week, Friday, being another Sabbath. And when they say a holy convocation, that means it's a day that the brothers and sisters are supposed to come together. So that's why we do studies, right? We do an extra study because virtually, you know what I'm saying, we at least can start to bring more of the brothers together, more of the sisters together. All right, keep going.
These are the feasts of Yahuwah, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, to offer an offering made by fire unto Yahuwah, a burnt offering for a meat offering, a sacrifice and drink offerings, everything upon his day. Beside the Sabbaths of Yahuwah, and beside your gifts, and beside all your vows, and beside all your freewill offerings which ye give unto Yahuwah. Also, the 15th day of the 7th month, when you have gathered in the fruit of the land, you shall keep a feast unto Yahuwah 7 days. On the first 7 days, on the first day shall be a Sabbath, and on the 8th day shall be a Sabbath. Ye shall take you on the first day the boughs of goodly trees, branches and palm trees, the boughs of thick trees and willows of the brook. Ye shall rejoice before Yahuwah your God 7 days. You shall keep it a feast unto Yahuwah 7 days in the year. It shall be a statute forever in your generations. You shall celebrate it in the 7th month. You shall dwell in booths, even 7 days. All that
All
are
right, so he's
able
saying you shall dwell in booths. When he say booths, he's talking about tabernacles. He's talking about tents. So he's saying for 7 days, you gotta sleep in a tent or dwell in a tent. You gotta stay in a tent, right? So that's us reminding ourselves that this is temporary, right? Remember, these days are all a shadow of things to come, right? So the Most High God is telling us, hey, to memorialize what has happened, right? What was in the past, what our fathers did when we left Egypt and we dwelled in tents for 40 days and 40 nights before going into the promised land by the hand of Joshua, right? To remember those times, you spend 7 days in a tent, right? In booths, in a temporary place, right? To remind yourself that it's temporary. But then also, you have to remind yourself that these are a shadow of things to come, right? Just as Passover and unleavened bread was a shadow of things to come for Yahushua, because Yahushua came and he died on Passover, right? And he was resurrected during the week of unleavened bread on the first fruit sheaf waving, right? Then you count after that 50 days from that point, according to the Gospels and according to Acts, 50 days from that point, then you had Pentecost, right? Or Feast of Weeks rather, right? These 50 Feast of Weeks, the Holy Spirit was given to our people, right? So these days have been a shadow of things to come. The same way we talked about Day of a Trumpet, how that's a shadow of things to come. Day of Atonement, how that's a shadow of things to come. And no different, the Day of Tabernacle, the Week of Tabernacles is also a shadow of things to come. Right? Keep going.
that your generations may know that I made the children of Israel to dwell in booths when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. I am Yahuwah your God. And Moses declared unto the children of Israel the feast of Yahuwah.
Listen, we're in this temporary body, and one day we're actually going to be in the promised land and we'll have a permanent house, right? And we'll have a body that's given to us by the Messiah, and we'll be like him, just like just like John told us. 1 John chapter 3 told us, right? But before that, we will physically and literally also be in the wilderness again, right? We will physically and literally have to come out of captivity again and travel through a wilderness again and go back into our land again and build up our land, right? All this happens physically and literally before Yahushua's return. So while this also serves a purpose of things to come on the spiritual sense, it also prepares us and put our mindset in a way of what is to come in a physical sense. Right? Grab Amos for me. Grab this is Amos chapter 9. Amos chapter 9, give me verse 11. Right? We have a promised land that's waiting for us, and we don't know how this thing is going to play out. Right? We don't know how it's going to get how we going to end up getting there. What circumstances is America going to kick us out? Are they going to give us reparations and we going to get out and leave on our own volition? Right? We don't know exactly how this thing going to play out, but we know a little bit about what the scriptures. Right? This is Amos chapter 9. Give me verse what I say, verse 11, verse 13.
In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close
Right? So he said he's going to raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen. Tabernacle is talking to us about a tent, which gives us a feeling that it's temporary. That's important because before Yahushua comes, there is still going to be another temporary Jerusalem built. Right? Not the permanent Jerusalem that comes. Oh, we got right there. Grab Revelation chapter 21, maybe. Revelation, I think chapter 21. If it ain't 21, it's 22, but start at verse 1. And then after that, we're going back to Amos chapter 9. We're going to go back to verse 13. This is Revelation chapter 21, verse 1.
And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea.
All right, hold we got right there. Grab Matthew chapter 5. Give me Matthew chapter 5, verse 17. It was a brother on Facebook the other day. That's the only reason I got to grab this real quick. It was a brother on Facebook. These people put themselves, they present themselves to the people as teachers. They be on Facebook and on Twitter, and they trying to teach people the word. This is what you should believe. And most people think this is the case, but it's not. You should do this. And most people don't know. They just think they know something. Make a darn mess. Man gonna tell everything in the scripture was fulfilled in 70 AD. Right? Everything that was described was fulfilled in 70 AD. So he went on to try to explain it and break through it and all that. So I was like, okay, that's what you think, huh? Everything was fulfilled. Okay, let's see. This is Matthew chapter 5, verse 17. Watch what the book say.
Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets.
He said, don't think that I've come to destroy the law or the prophets. What else?
I have not come to destroy, but to fulfill.
Okay.
For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled.
He said, not anything will be passed from the law until everything is fulfilled. Watch this.
Whosoever therefore shall break one of the least commandments and shall teach men so, he shall be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be great in the kingdom of heaven.
So now, we need a kingdom of heaven to happen, and we need heaven and earth to pass for all things to be fulfilled. Let's go back to Revelations. Let's just see if we remember this being fulfilled in 70 AD. This is Revelation chapter 21, verse 1.
And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband.
All right, so tell me when that happened in history. Tell me about which historian recorded this. A new heaven coming out. There's no more sea. You know what I'm saying? Right? Heaven and earth passed away. Right? But this is what Yahushua was talking about. He was like, listen, everything going to be fulfilled at this point. Right? Therefore, nothing about this law changes until everything is fulfilled. When heaven and earth pass away, everything is fulfilled. Right? But you see Jerusalem come from the sky. Let's hear about it.
And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, He will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and God himself shall be with them and be their God.
Mm-hmm.
God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow, neither crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away.
Right? So this is what the Most High God brings down from heaven. Right? This comes down from New Jerusalem comes down from heaven. But then the Most High God said let's go back. Let's go back to Amos. In Amos, he's telling us he wants to raise it from what David had. Right? So he's going to raise the tabernacles of David from ruins. Right? This happens before New Jerusalem comes down. Right? It's lowered. Right? So David is raised. New Jerusalem is going to be lowered. Right? This happens before New Jerusalem comes. Right? So this is let's read it again. This is Amos chapter 9, verse 13. Oh, did I lose you again? That boy got a terrible connection.
Hey, I told you about that cheap internet. Ready?
Yep, this is Amos chapter 9, verse 13.
We're in 11.
Oh, all right. Amos chapter 9, verse 11.
And in that day I will raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof, and I will raise up his ruins, and will build it as in the days of old, that they may possess.
That's the days of what?
Days of old.
But we just read in Revelation, it's going to be a new Jerusalem, right?
Right.
Right. So these are two different things that we're reading about, right? There's going to be the tabernacle of David, the temporary place that David has set up, right? That is going to be raised from the ruins. In other words, the old stuff that got messed up, right? And it's going to be built just like the days of old. That still has to happen, right? Keep going.
That they may possess the remnant of Edom and all of the heathen which are called by my name, saith Yahuwah, that doeth this.
Right? So for the people that would look at this and be like, no, that already happened, brother. See, Isaiah was prophesying how the Babylonians would tear down the temple and we would be exiled for 70 years. And then we'll come back and we rebuild at the hands of Zerubbabel and Jeshua. Right? And when they rebuild everything, they're going to rebuild it and they're going to let everything, you know what I'm saying? And then it'll be just like the days of old. Okay. Well, tell us about how we possess Edom. Because we didn't, right? If you remember, actually, in Yahushua's time, Edom possessed us. Right? Herod was an Edomite. And he was the king of all of Jerusalem. King Agrippa, a Edomite. Right? And Paul told him, man, I know you're familiar with these things. He had to appeal to him. They possessed us. Keep going. Watch this.
Behold, the days come, says Yahuwah, that the plowman shall overtake the reaper, and the treader of the grapes him that soweth seed. The mountain shall drop sweet wine, and all the hills shall melt. And I will bring again the captivity of my people of Israel, and they shall build the waste cities and inhabit them. They shall plant vineyards and drink the wine thereof. They shall also make gardens and eat the fruit of them. And I will plant them upon their land, and they shall no more be pulled out of their land, which I have given them, says Yahuwah.
So they shall no more what?
They shall no more be pulled up out of their land, which I give them.
How in the world could this be about the temple that was built by Zerubbabel and Yahushua?
And,
right? It couldn't be the case. Because when we were there, Yahushua came, the Messiah, right? He came, and then 70 AD, we got removed from our land. Most High God said when he put us back, we ain't going to be removed again. That means that there is still yet a time to come where we go back to our land and we don't get pulled out of it again. That we still going to build up the old places. right? And it's going to work just like the old way, but we won't get moved out of it again. Right? Grab Zechariah for me. Zechariah chapter 8. Give me verse 20. Notice that what Amos told us, we don't have to go back and get it, but notice that what Amos told us, Amos explained to us that the person who plows, right, is going to overtake the person who sows. Overtake the person that reaps. So in other words, the person that's doing the work to dig is going to overtake the person that gets the benefits of it, right? And what he's describing is the person that had dominance before, that lived off of the labor, right? That oppressed, the roles are going to reverse, right? This is Zechariah. Watch this. This is Zechariah chapter 8, verse 20. Right? He said the roles are going to reverse. Right? Revelation say something about that too. It say something like, you know what I'm saying? He who leadeth into captivity shall be in captivity. He who killeth with the sword will die by the sword. Right? So things are going to reverse. This is Zechariah chapter 8, verse 20.
Thus says Yahuwah of hosts, it shall yet come to pass that there shall come people and the inhabitants of many cities. The inhabitants of one city shall go to another, saying, let us go speedily to pray before Yahuwah and seek Yahuwah of hosts. I will
Right?
go.
So the people are going to eventually fear Yah, and everybody going to want to go to Jerusalem. This is Gentiles that he's talking about. Everybody's going to want to go to Jerusalem to hear about Yahuwah. Explain this to us, Yah. How do we get there?
Yea, many people and strong nations shall come and seek Yahuwah of hosts in Jerusalem and pray before Yahuwah. Thus says Yahuwah of hosts, in those days it shall come to pass that 10 men shall take hold of all languages of the nations, even shall take hold of the skirt of him that is a Jew, saying, we will go with you, for we have heard that God is with you.
Look, he's telling us there's going to come a day that people will go to Jerusalem to seek Yah from all nations. Great nations are going to be like, look, I got to get here and I got to seek Yah. And I got to do it at Jerusalem. Great nations, right? He said, even so, people are going to latch on to you who are a Jew. And they're going to say, you know what? Take us with you because we heard God is with you. I need y'all to be quiet, boys. We heard Yah is with you. So with that, we want to go with you. That's how this thing is going to play out. There are going to be so many events. It's not going to be any different from it's not going to be very different from what we read about with Egypt. How Moses had plagues coming on all these people. And eventually they said, look, go. And then we left with mixed multitudes. Part of that reason is because a lot of those are looking like, look, man, I know God is with you. Take me with you when you go. It said from every tongue, going to be 10 separate people from every tongue just trying to find themselves a Hebrew. Like, look, man, just take us, you know what I'm saying? Just take us with you, man. What I got to do? You want me to pay for the ticket? I'll pay for the ticket. What I got to do? How I got to get there? Right? Grab after that, grab real quick, grab Revelation 16. So we got to talk about the conditions, right? What would make all these great nations do that? What would make all these great nations want to see Yah? Want to learn about Yah? Want to seek Yah? It's hard to imagine right now. And the only reason it's hard to imagine because we don't believe our history. Right? That's why Yah gives us these days as memorials so that we can remember there was a time that it was hard to imagine us coming out of Egypt. Right? Remember Moses popped up? This is Zechariah, not Zechariah. It's this Revelation 16, verse 1. You remember Moses popped up though? Moses popped up and he said, hey, I'm about to take y'all to the promised land. You don't believe me? Look, this you know what I'm saying, this water turns into to blood. And this snake, you know what I'm saying, this staff turns into a snake and then back into a staff. And the people believed him. And then they went to Moses. Moses went to Pharaoh, and Moses talking that mess to Pharaoh. Pharaoh was like, boy, if you don't knock it off, look, these boys ain't got enough work, clearly. Go ahead and double their portion. And now they got to make their own, what was it called? They got to make their own mortar.
They got to make their own bricks.
They got to make their own. They got to put that stuff together their own darn self. Clearly, y'all got too much time on y'all hands. Double time now, and y'all not getting paid. Right? So after that, the people was looking like, why in the world, Moses, did you convince us? We didn't believe. We were looking like this thing made it worse. We didn't believe that we was actually going to get out of Egypt. We didn't believe that we was actually going to see a promised land. We have to remind ourselves that there was just like now, it's hard. Look, I don't see it. How could that happen? How is it even possible? You know what I'm saying? There's not one single politician that even no serious politician that even want to entertain reparations for us. They got people, look, they digging up Kamala stuff so bad, bro. They got her stuff set. Look, they digging up how she's saying that she's black, and they looking like she don't have one black ancestor. Right? You know that hypocrite that be always, you know what I'm saying, working with the white folks and attacking our people, Candace Owens. You know what I'm saying? She started digging up. Look, she started getting right off on Kamala. She said, listen, let me dig into your past a little bit. Who was your grandmother on your daddy's side? What was her name? Oh, I read your book. You got a picture of this lady. And yeah, she is a black lady. But when I look her up, it says that this lady that you say is your grandmother, according to your birth certificate and looking at your genealogy, this lady died 2 years before you were born. So how in the world could you be in the picture with this same lady? They digging up her stuff. It's like, whoa, I think we found the real one. They put this white lady on the screen. I said, no way. No, there's no way that this lady got caught lying about her people being black. She Irish. Right? Her daddy that is from Jamaica is Irish and Indian, they say. Right? Janet Jackson even came out saying, you know what I'm saying? Janet Jackson was like, I heard she was white. And everybody got mad at Janet Jackson. One of her managers came out and apologized. She fired that boy. She was like, no, he wasn't authorized to apologize on my behalf. She said, I meant what I said. Her butt is white. He wasn't authorized to speak on my darn behalf. Get your butt out of here. These people are playing dirty, dirty, dirty games. And a lot of it is to keep us where we are. They can't let a black person get in the White House. They got to take people who they think are who they can make people think are black, but they not. And when I say black, I'm talking about the Hebrew. I'm talking about a descendant of the Hebrews. They say, oh, you know what? Kamala, she can pass. She can pass. Go ahead. Run her as a black person. Because in our mind, that gives us a false sense of hope, which will then change our behavior. Right? They can manipulate our behavior by that false sense of hope. Right? But what we have to see is, no, none of these people support us. None of these people, I am only aware of one president, right? Ironically enough, that even acknowledges our contributions in a real way to this country. And it was Trump. When Trump was in office, his butt came up. He was like, listen, you guys built this country. And you don't get a lot of credit for it. You know what I'm saying? He said, hey, you don't get a lot of credit for it. You think? You know what I'm saying? Y'all made us slaves. What do you mean we don't get a lot of credit? He's like, you don't get a lot of credit for it, but you guys built this country. I mean, you know, we all built it together, but you guys played a huge part in it. I was looking like, you know what? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I want more, but that's the best that we got so far. Right? They don't even acknowledge our contribution, because to acknowledge it means that they might have to let up on their oppression a little bit. There is going to be a time, although we can't see it, although we don't see how it maps out, there's going to be a time where this stuff flips a little bit. Right? And we have to be mentally prepared for that flip. Right? This is Revelation chapter 16. Give me verse 1. Let's shoot through it.
And I heard a great voice out of the temple saying of the seven angels, Go your ways and pour out the vials of the wrath of God upon the earth. And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image. And the second angel poured out his vial upon the sea, and it
So
became
now
as
people
blood.
got sores, right? Second angel, he poured it out. What happened?
The second angel poured out his vial upon the sea, and it became as blood of a dead man. And every living soul died in the sea. And the third angel poured out.
Look, everything that was in the sea died, right? The water in certain areas became blood, and everything that was in the water died. The waters got poisoned. Watch this.
And the third angel poured out his vial upon the rivers and the fountains of waters, and they became blood. And I heard
Right?
the angel.
Go ahead, keep going.
And I heard the angel of the waters say, "Thou art righteous, O Yahuwah, which are and was and shall be, because you have judged thus. For they have shed the blood of the saints and prophets, and thou hast given them blood to drink, for they are worthy." And I heard another.
Right? So you look at it and you see the rivers become blood, the lakes become blood, and the sea become blood. Not all of it, but a good portion of them. Right? And then so far you got people that got sores, right? Sores on their skin. So you got people that are sick, they need healing. They're not dead, but they sick and they need healing. And then you got people who I can't go get food out of the rivers, right? So where I normally would get fish and I would eat fish, I can't do that. So now we probably got a fish shortage in the world, right? You got a bunch of sick people. Think of like COVID, and that wasn't even real. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they overhyped it for political reasons around the entire world. But think of like people really, really, really sick from having all these sores and they bodies messed up, right? And it's spreading over a third of the population of the world, right? So think of COVID times 60. Everybody messed up, sick, toe up. It's spreading. They looking like, man, it's this virus. They probably don't even know what's going on, man. It's this virus going around. We ain't got no antidote for it. There's nothing we could do. Close yourself in. We don't know if it spreads by contact. They don't know what's going on, right? So now people can't work. Imagine what that does to the economy. Then on top of that, the water start messing up, right? Water's in the sea, and then also the waters in the rivers where we get our fish and all this stuff from. All that start messing up. Okay, keep going.
And I heard another out of the altar say, "Even so, you are God Almighty, true and righteous are thy judgments." And the fourth angel poured out his vial upon the sun, and power was given unto him to scorch men with fire.
Right? So now the sun start hitting, and now the climate change people, the global warming people, they out there, see, I told you, we should have protected the earth. This is what happened. There's a lady, I forget where she's from, a little girl actually. I think she's an adult now, but you know what I'm saying? She is a little girl. She's always protest for climate change. She's like, we need to stop putting CO2 in the air because it is creating greenhouse gas and we are going to destroy the planet and all of us are going to die and like all this stuff, right? I'm looking like y'all sound worse than the religious people. You know what I'm saying? Y'all sound worse than them. But she is going to be like, see, I told y'all, because the sun is going to start shining and scorching people. What it's going to do? Watch this.
And the fourth angel poured out his vial upon the sun, and power was given unto him to scorch men with fire. And men were scorched with great heat, and blasphemed the name of God, which has power over these plagues. And they repented not to give him glory.
Right? So that's global warming. The sun, when the angel pour out the valve, the sun about to start blasting on these people. And it's going to be great heat. And we're going to be sitting there like, got some of us go, some people, not us. Some people going to have swords that got the mark, right? Then the sun going to be shining so hard, it's going to be too hot, right? People going to blaspheme God like, oh, curse God. Why they going to be cursing God? Just because they want to die, right? Keep going. Watch this.
And the fifth angel poured out his vial upon the seat of the beast, and his kingdom was full of darkness, and they gnawed their tongues for pain. And
he said the seat of the beast,
God of heaven because of their, yeah.
Seat as in where you sit down.
Yeah.
And where's that at? The seat of the beast.
And out of the fire upon the seat of the beast, and its kingdom was full of darkness, and they gnawed their tongues for pain, and blasphemed the
Right?
God of heaven because of their pains and their sores, and repented not of their deeds.
So now you have swords, you got the sun beaming, the economy's messed up because ain't nobody working, right? It's a bunch of people that just not working. They're not able to work. They're too sick. They're too messed up. Even if you try to go outside and do some work, the sun is killing you, right? It's beaming, lighting your butt up. And then now in the seat of the beast, right? It's darkness, complete darkness. Now you got more disruption to the economy. A lot of people are hungry at this point. A lot of people suffering, a lot of famine, a lot of crazy things are happening at this point, right? A lot of people breaking into houses because it's dark, right? It's just chaos, right? Keep going. Watch this.
And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared.
Then after that, the river Euphrates, right, which is north of Israel, is over there. You know what I'm saying? Like it starts at like Turkey and go all the way to Iraq, right? It gets dried up. So now you got a water supply. You got to think about it like this. California, I think there's a mountain in either Oregon or Washington, one of those mountains that got a river, right? Most of these rivers come from mountains. So it's like it rains at the top of the mountain. Then that supplies this river. You know what I'm saying? There's ice at the top of the mountain. And then the ice is constantly melting throughout the seasons and all that, right? So it's like this constant flow of water that comes from the mountain, right? Between the rain and the ice. So then that creates this river, but then this river goes down and it supplies water for all these different places. So I want to say it's in Washington or Oregon. There's a big river and it comes down and it goes all the way down to California and it supplies almost all the water for California, right? Imagine something like that where Iraq right now is probably getting some of their water from the Euphrates, right? And some of these other places in Turkey and other places are probably getting some of their water from the Euphrates. Imagine that dries up. Now you don't have good running water. You got to figure out different ways to get water. This thing dries up. The purpose of it drying up is the Most High God said, I need to give a simple way for all these people of the East to come, right? So think about when you think about that part of the world, up there is going to be Russia. Up there, you know what I'm saying? It's going to give a path to China. It's going to give a path to a lot of the nations that's way east of Israel, right? It's going to be dry ground so that if you got to cross by ground, you're going to have a way to do it. Let's see why he might be doing that. Keep going.
And I saw their unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet.
And what in the world did those unclean spirits that were like frogs do?
For they are the spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth into the kings of the earth, the whole world, to gather them to the battle of the great day of God Almighty. Behold,
so at this point, the kings of the earth were deceived into believing that they can fight against somebody, right? Right here, it's telling us the great day of the God Almighty, right? But I don't believe that's who they thought they was fighting. I don't think that they went. I don't think that these spirits were convincing them, yeah, go fight God. I think they said, go fight the Israelites, right? Keep going. Watch this. Uh-oh, might lost you again here. Let me see.
All right, I'm back.
All right. It's Revelation 16. Where we up?
Verse 16.
Keep going.
And he gathered them together. 15. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watches and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked, and they see his shame. And he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. And the seventh angel poured out his vial into the air, and there they
But we
came.
hold on right there. So people have probably heard of the Battle of Armageddon. These kings were riled up for the battle. The Battle of Armageddon is the battle of Yahushua versus all the nations of the earth that are against him. Right? The way this is set up is because there is a horrible economy out there. All these places are suffering. So much so that these kings, it looked like, can't even fly their planes. So they have to come over on foot. The Most High God had to dry up the Euphrates River for them so they can get over there on foot, is how it looked to me. Right? So they can't even fly their jets or their drones and do all the stuff that they would normally do. The economy seems like it's messed up. Resources are messed up. You can't get to what you need. You can't afford to even put people out there. The sun scorches you in certain areas. There's only one way to do this. And these frog-like spirits deceive people into thinking this is how you do it. You need to go fight the Israelites. But why in the world would they feel like they need to fight us? Let's see. Grab Ezekiel chapter 20. Because while these plagues are happening, the Most High God is saying, come out of her, my people. Share not in her plagues. That's what Revelation told her. We don't have to get it. But it says, come out of her, my people. Share not in her plagues. This is Ezekiel chapter 20. Give me verse 33. 32, actually. This is Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 32.
1 second.
You have to make sure that you understand that all of these plagues impacted the world, which disrupts things that people normally do. If you got a bunch of sick people, that means people are not working. Right? That means people are in pain. I mean, people can't make a living for themselves or for their family. That means their family got to figure out other ways to get it done. That creates a bit of chaos. Right? Hospitals are overcrowded. People who work in the hospital are sick also. Right? Then after that, water supplies are poisoned to where a lot of the animals that come out of the water cannot be eaten. Right? Fish is shut down. And if the water is poisoned, then how do I feed my cow? How do I feed my chickens? Right? Because I have to water the ground. Now I gotta wait for the rain, which means if I'm waiting for the rain, I can't mass produce food like I used to mass produce food. These people ain't waiting for rain. They don't care what season. They got strawberries growing all season long. You think our ancestors could have done that? No, we had to wait for the proper season. They create the seasons by manipulating everything. How you gonna do that if you don't have a good water supply? Right? All produce is being messed up. Then after that, the sun starts scorching. That's more people that's not working. More people in pain, more chaos, more fields where you got produce growing that scorch. Now the plants are scorching. They can't grow. You got some areas of the world where it's complete darkness. Then a big river, one of the major rivers of the world, is dried up. It causes chaos. It causes scarcity. It causes true economic issues. And one thing that causes nations to go to war is economic issues. Right? This is Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 32. Watch what the book says.
And that which cometh into your and that which cometh into your mind shall not be at all, that ye say, we will be as the heathen, as the families of the countries, to serve wood and stone. As I live, says Yahuwah God, surely with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm, and with fury poured out, will I rule over you. And I will bring you out from the people, and will gather you out of the countries wherein you are scattered, with a mighty hand, with a stretched out arm, with fury poured out. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face.
So he said he's going to bring us into the wilderness, and then he's going to plead with us face to face. Like what?
Like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt, so will I plead with you, says Yahuwah God. And I will cause you to pass under the rod, and will bring you into the bond of the covenant.
So he's going to make a new covenant with our people, or reconfirm the covenant with our people, right? When we're in the wilderness. So our people, he said he's going to pull us out of all these nations, right? By fury. In other words, by plagues. So all these plagues are going to be hitting the world. We're scattered in nations all over the world. He's going to get our people and pull us out of all these separate nations, and he's going to bring us into the wilderness. When he brings us just like Egypt, he's going to bring us into the wilderness, and we're going to talk to him there. That means we likely are going to have a prophet that's going to tell us this is what the Most High God is saying to y'all. This is what y'all got to do. This is what the plan is. Right? Keep going. Watch this.
And I will purge out from among you the rebels, and them that transgress against me. I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel, and ye shall know that I am Yahuwah.
Right? So look, just like Egypt, there's going to be some people that's rebellious. And he says, in the wilderness, I'm going to purge them, and they're not going to enter into the land of Israel. So it's some of these people that's not going to make it out of the wilderness. That means we probably going to be challenged and tested just like when we came out of Egypt, right? It's going to be the same thing, very similar all over again, right? So they going to get purged out. And then what else happens?
And as for you, O house of Israel, thus says Yahuwah God, go ye serve ye. Go ye serve ye, everyone his idols, and hereafter also, if ye will not hearken unto me. But pollute ye my holy name no more with your gifts and with your idols. For in my holy mountain, in the mountain of the height of Israel, says Yahuwah God, there shall all the house of Israel and all of them in the land serve me. There will I accept them, and there will I require your offerings and the first fruits of your oblations with all your holy things.
Right? So now the sacrifices are being set back up. He said, we're about to go back to the land. You're currently in the wilderness, and there I'm going to start accepting your sacrifices, which means we got to have a priesthood, which means we got to know who the tribes are, which means we got to have a temple, which means just like what we heard about before from Isaiah, from Isaiah, that the tabernacles of David were raised from ruins, right? But first, we got to be brought out of these nations, and we got to be placed in the wilderness, right? So these nations let us go because of these plagues. These plagues end up crippling their economy, and then we go to the wilderness. Now we probably struggling in the wilderness at first, right? But let's go to verse go to Isaiah. Give me Isaiah chapter 41, verse 17. This is Isaiah chapter 41, verse 17. Let's talk about our time in the wilderness a little bit, right? Because y'all is kind of letting us know. He's like, listen, I'm going to bring you out of all these places, right? And I'm going to put you in the wilderness. So Isaiah chapter 41, verse 17, it's going to kind of break down some of this wilderness for us, right? Going to break down some of the events that are going to happen while we in this wilderness, while the rebellious are being purged out, right? You got to imagine that it's going to be hot, hard to hurry. We can't find food, same stuff. And then you're going to have some of these rebels that pop up and they going to complain like, dang, man, at least back home it was a McDonald's. It wasn't that bad. I mean, sure, we might be in the plague, but I mean, they still got McDonald's at least. It costs a lot more because everything, inflation went up. You know what I'm saying? Everything got more value because you got to pay people a lot more to work when they got sores on them and all that. But I mean, at least we'd have an opportunity to eat something out here. Now, what am I eating out here? Who knows what the Most High God gonna feed us? You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure we go complain and complain and complain, and then the rebels are gonna be purged out. But just like Egypt, he would give us something, do a miracle to make us believe, and then punish the people that didn't believe. Right? Let me show you the miracle that he's gonna do. It's Isaiah chapter 41, verse 17. Watch this.
When the poor and needy seek water, and there is none, and their tongue is faileth for thirst, I, Yahuwah, will hear them.
Right? So he's like, we're going to be out there and we're going to be feeling poor and needy and we're going to be looking for water. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be failing for thirst. But eventually, you got to imagine, it has to get to that point. It ain't going to be like, oh, we just got here and I'm feeling a little thirsty. No, we're going to be desperate, beat up, right? We're going to be looking like, why did you bring us out here just so that we can die in the wilderness? Right? Our tongue going to be failing for water and we're going to be thirsty. Keep going. Watch what this say.
I will open rivers in high places and fountains in the midst of the valleys. I will make the wilderness a pool of water and dry land springs of water. I will plant in the wilderness the cedar, the shittah tree, and the myrtle, and the oil tree. I will set in the desert the fir tree, and the pine, and the box tree together, that they may see and know and consider and understand together that the hand of Yahuwah has done this. The Holy
This
One
is Isaiah chapter 35. Watch this. This is Isaiah chapter 35. So you see that he turns the wilderness into a spring for us, where it's going to be water and trees growing right out of the darn desert.
My mama used to listen to a gospel song when I was little. It was like Oasis, right in the middle of the desert.
All right, that's prophecy.
That's what they got that name.
It's Isaiah chapter 35. Give me verse 1.
The wilderness and the solitary place shall be glad for them, and the desert.
Right, look, the wilderness gonna be happy to get us because it's dry out there. Right, the wilderness be like, oh, they coming? Oh man, Most High God about to hook us up out here in the wilderness. The wilderness will be glad for them. Why? Watch this.
And the desert shall rejoice and blossom as the rose. It shall blossom abundantly and rejoice, even with joy and singing. The glory of Lebanon shall be given unto it. The excellency of Carmel and Sharon, they shall see the glory of Yahuwah and the excellency of our God. Strengthen ye the weak hands and confirm the feeble knees. Say unto them that are of a fearful heart, be strong, fear not. Behold, your God will come with vengeance, even God with recompense. He will come and save you. And the eyes of the blind shall be opened, and the ears of the deaf shall be unstopped. Then shall the lame man leap as a hart, and the tongue of the dumb sing. For in the wilderness shall waters break out, and the streams in the desert.
He said, in the wilderness, waters are going to break out and streams in the desert. So where there's no water, all of a sudden, we're going to have rivers coming in the desert out of nowhere. This is what the Most High God is going to create after he, you know what I'm saying, while he dealing with these rebels. Because we already know how it plays out. We know that we going to complain like, man, I'm so thirsty. Most High God going to do this miracle. And then it's like, oh, wow. Right? Keep going. Watch this.
And the parched ground shall become a pool, and the thirsty land springs of water, and the habitation of dragons, where each slave shall be grass with reeds and rushes. And a highway shall be there, and a way.
What?
The highway shall be there. And it should be called the way of holiness. The unclean shall not pass over it, but it shall.
Look, this is where the rebels get purged, right? The unclean can't pass over this highway. Who else?
The unclean shall not pass over it, but it shall be for those, the wayfaring men, though fools shall not err therein. No lion shall be there, nor any ravenous beast shall go up thereon. It shall not be found there, but the redeemed shall walk there. And the ransomed of Yahuwah shall return and come to Zion with songs and everlasting joy on their heads. They shall obtain joy and gladness, and sorrow and sighing shall flee away.
Right? So now our people will be given, the redeemed, right? Those that are righteous before Yahuwah will be given a highway, a path, a very clear path from the wilderness all the way to Jerusalem, right? And we're going to walk it. He's not going to let nobody else walk on that path, right? So we're going to take this path and we're going to go all the way back to the land, right? And when we going, we're going to be going with rejoicing. We thought the world was over. We thought all this stuff is happening. We thought it was done for us. We didn't think we were going to make it. We thought we were going to die in the wilderness. We didn't think any of this stuff. And then now we got a path. We're going to be so happy because we seeing God work for us in front of our faces. Miracles, stuff we could never believe. We never would have believed happened. Right? It's going to be happening right before our eyes, just like the stuff that we read. Right? And we're going to have a path all the way back to Jerusalem. This is Isaiah chapter 60. Watch this. Isaiah chapter 60, give me verse 9. Book say we got a highway. You know what I'm saying? And only the redeemed will walk on it. This is before Yahushua will come back. This is before our bodies are changed. This is just regular people, regular things happening. And we're going to see special, miraculous things happening for us. While the rest of the world is suffering. While the rest of the world don't have no economy. While the rest of the world trying to struggle to make things come together. Got to struggle to make things happen. Everybody's going to be in the middle of chaos. Right? It's going to be absolute chaos. Everywhere that you go, there's not going to be a path for people to get themselves out of that chaos. Nobody is going to see a way, right? Nobody is going to see a path forward. Nobody is going to see a way. Everybody is going to be looking for some way to get out of their chaos, out of their economic downturn. All the presidents and the nations and the prime minister, they're going to be looking for a way to get their people what they need. People are going to be revolting against their leaders saying, why didn't you just listen to God? Some of their people are going to be leaving, trying to get to us like, man, look, I heard you was a Jew. I heard you was a Hebrew. Just take me with you. By this point, there had already been wars. Our land is cleared out. Who knows what happens to the Palestinians in Israel who are at war right now? Who knows how that ends, right? But who knows how that turns out? All we know is whatever happens, we're going to be in the wilderness and we're going to be in a place where it's time for us to head back to the Most High God, right? To head back to the Most High God to see how things are going to play out. And a lot of these people are not going to understand what's going on. A lot of these people are not going to see it for themselves. A lot of these people are going to be nervous and scared. You know what I'm saying? And they're going to be looking for their leader to provide a way for them, but there might not be a way that their leader can provide. This is going to create a lot of angst and a lot of problems, but it's also going to create a lot of support for us, right? When people get mad at their leader, like, why didn't you listen to God? Why didn't you just, you know what I'm saying? Why didn't you just do it this way? Or why didn't you just do it that way? You know what I'm saying? People going to find out that there's only one way to do it, right? And it has to be Yah's way. Watch this. Keep going. This is Isaiah chapter 60, verse 17. Verse 9, sorry. Isaiah chapter 60, verse 9.
Surely the isle shall wait for me, and the ships of Tarshish first, to bring thy sons from far, thy silver and their gold. Their silver
Right?
and their
The Gentiles are going to bring us from far. Watch this. Keep going.
unto the name of Yahuwah thy God, and unto the Holy One of Israel, because he hath glorified thee. And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my
right? So our walls are going to be built up by strangers. This is the reversing of the roles, right? So these same Gentiles that oppress us today will be the Gentiles that are grabbing onto us like, take us with you, please. And the way that they going to get there is just as an offering to God. We will pay for this. We will build the walls. We will do the work. They will be our servants. And it's not because we're going to be an oppressive people, right? It's going to be because they're willing to do anything to serve the Most High God and to escape the wrath that the rest of the world is going through, right? People are desperate in these times. We heard about what's happening in the wilderness for y'all. Let us fund the wall. Let us build these houses for y'all, right? Let us take care of it. Most High God has been looking out for y'all. It's better in the desert than it is in our hometowns and our big cities. Y'all got it better in the desert. Let us help, right? But a lot of the nations are still going to be rebellious. Real quick, grab Ezekiel 42. This is Ezekiel chapter 42. Give me verse 1. Not 42, 47. Ezekiel chapter 47, verse 1.
Afterward, he brought me again unto the door of the house, and behold, waters issued out from under the threshold of the house eastward.
Now look, while the rest of the world rivers are being dried up, the rest of the world rivers is turned to blood. You know what I'm saying? The sea is turned to blood. All of a sudden, we got waters that coming right from our temple. Right? Watch this. Keep going. So we build up the temple, we build up the ruins, and all of a sudden, a river flows right from the temple. Right? Miraculously. Watch this.
For the forefront of the house stood toward the east, and the waters came down from under the right side of the house at the south side of the altar. Then brought he me out of the way of the gate northward, and led me about the way without unto the utter gate by the way that looked eastward. And behold, there ran out waters on the right side. And when the man that had the line in his hand went forth eastward, he measured 1,000 cubits, and he brought me through the waters. The waters were to the ankles. Again, he measured 1,000 and brought me to the waters, and the waters were to the knees. Again, he measured 1,000 and brought me through. The waters were to the loins. Afterward,
right? So the further he gets away, what it's saying is he's measuring, and the further he gets away, the water gets deeper and deeper. So this river gets deeper and deeper that the Most High created, leaving our temple, and he's going eastward. So if you were to look on a map, right, you will see where Jerusalem is, right? If you go east from that, you're gonna have the Jordan River, and then you're gonna have the Salt Sea, right? So it's just a big old salt sea that's right there. So now this water is flowing towards that salt sea. Watch this.
Afterward, he measured 1,000. It was a river that I could not pass over, for the waters were risen, waters to swim in, a river that could not be passed over. And he said unto me, Son of man, hast thou seen this? Then he brought me and caused me to return to the brink of the river. Now, when I had returned, behold, at the bank of the river were very many trees on the one side and on the other. Then he said unto me, These waters issue out toward the east country, and go down into the desert, and go into the sea, which being brought forth into the sea, the water shall be healed. And it shall come to pass that everything that lives, which moveth, whatsoever the river shall come, shall live. There shall be a very great multitude of fish, because these waters shall come there, for they shall be healed, and everything shall live, whether the river, fishers shall stand upon it from the Engedi, be a place spread forth nets. Their fish shall be according to their kinds, as the fish of the great sea, exceedingly many.
Right? So he's saying all types of fish are going to be right there in the Salt Sea. Right where the Jordan River hit, it's going to be right there, because that water was probably turned to blood, and there was probably no fish right there. Then all of a sudden, this new river forms right out of our temple. It hits this water. It says it heals the water. A bunch of trees start growing up around where these waters is running. And then also, this makes it to where there's all types of fish. All the fish of the world of the great sea is right here in this one place. And it's so that a person, all he got to do is throw his net right into this little sea, right? Because it's a little sea. He throw his net into the sea, and all you got to do, and it's going to be plenty of fish just comes up. You just throw the net and get fish. It's easy to fish in this sea. Right? Keep going. Watch this.
But the miry places thereof and the marshes thereof shall not be healed. They shall be given to salt, and the river upon the bank thereof on this side and on that side shall grow all trees for meat, whose leaf shall not fade, neither shall the fruit thereof be consumed. It shall bring forth
right.
Fruit.
So now you're going to have trees whose leaf doesn't fade. So in other words, it's what they call an evergreen tree all year. It ain't like there's not like in the fall season it gets all messed up. No, all year this thing is green because of this water. This water is continuously watering this tree, which causes it to be good all year, right? And what about the fruit? It said the fruit won't be consumed.
And it shall bring forth new fruit according to his months, because because of their waters they issued out of the sanctuary, and the fruit thereof shall be for food, for meat, and the leaf thereof for medicine.
So now the leaf ends up being medicine for people. And every month you got new fruit. And the fruit is for food. Right? So our animals got grass now, right? Because remember, the rivers is toe up, the water's toe up all around the world. Our animals in Israel got good grass in this area. right? We can raise all of our animals right here, even go through the desert onto. So we got a whole bunch of space where we can just put all of our animals to eat grass and do whatever we're gonna do with the animals and our whatever we growing, right? Our lambs, our goats, our ox, our cows, all that stuff, right? We can take care of them. We got plenty of fish right there. We got vegetation that not only heals us, because you know it's a whole bunch of people that got sores, right? A whole bunch of people that scorched from the sun. We ain't got to worry about none of that stuff. We got the healing tree right here that never fades. There's plenty of it. It grows all year, always green, right? How do you think that makes the rest of the world feel? The rest of the world gets to a place where they looking like, what? We let these people go and we thought we were sending them to a barren land. And you mean to tell me the desert turned into a oasis for them? Then they got on the highway and they went all the way to Israel, which we thought was a wasted land plagued with bombs and all types of crazy stuff. And then all of a sudden they go there and things are great. And now it turns out that the only way that we can have the resources that we need is to go to Israel, right? Grab Isaiah chapter 13, verse 1.
What?
Isaiah 13, verse 1. Then after that, we'll finish off with Revelations chapter 16. We're going to pick up where we left off.
The burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see. Lift up a banner upon the high mountain, exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand, that they may go unto the gates of the nobles. I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones for my anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. The noise of a multitude is in the mountains, like as of a great people. Tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. Yahuwah of hosts.
Right? All the nations, right? It's a big noise and all the nations are gathered together. Watch this.
The host musters the host of the battle. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Yahuwah, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. Howl ye, for the day of Yahuwah is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. They shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames. Behold, the day of Yahuwah cometh cruel, both with wrath, fierce anger, to lay the land desolate. He shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. And I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible.
Right? So they thought that they were going to come to our land, and they thought they were going to wipe us off of the darn planet. That's what's going to happen, right? These people are going to look at all the resources that suddenly is available right in our land, how we got this tree that's good for healing, and they got all these sick people, right? They got the sun not scorching on them. We don't have darkness, and they gonna looking like, okay, no, we got to go there because they got all the fish, they got the vegetation, they got this new tree that we ain't never heard of. This is where we need to go, right? And they gonna go try to attack us. So that's what's talked about in Revelation. Let's go back to Revelation 16. Let's finish it out. It's Revelation chapter 16, verse where we leave off.
Verse 16.
This is Revelation chapter 16, verse 16. Watch this.
And he gathered them together into a place in Hebrew in a Hebrew tongue called Armageddon. And
go back to 12.
And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the earth might be prepared. And I saw three unclean beasts like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. For they are the spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and to the whole world, to gather them to the battle that great day of God Almighty. Behold,
right? So now the spirits are convincing them this is what y'all need to do, right? Y'all want y'all resources, y'all want to feed y'all people, you want to heal them, take over Israel, go, right? And they're sending them to us because we are living lavishly while everyone else is suffering, right? Keep going.
behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watches and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame.
This is
And he had,
Yahushua kind of giving us a hint that when this happens, oh, now I'm coming. He said, you don't know exactly when, but behold, he's saying, look, I tell you that I told you this, that the kings are going to come and all that. Look, pay attention. I come as a thief, right? So that's his hint to let us know the time is close to him coming when this happens, right? Keep going.
he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. And the seventh angel poured out his vial into the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne saying, it is done. And there were voices and thunderings and lightnings, and there was a great earthquake, such as was not since men were upon the earth, so mighty an earthquake and so great. And the great city was divided into three parts, and the cities of the nations fell. And great
Right. So the
Babylon,
great city is talking about our city. It's talking about Jerusalem. The great city was divided into three parts. And what happened? The city of the nations did what?
and the cities of the nations fell.
So they all came to conquer our land, to take over and probably commandeer all our stuff, all our resources, everything that we didn't build. They came to take it. They get in there, so we probably scared, right? They get in there, but then the Most High God do something, probably an earthquake or something, and he divided into three parts. And then he caused these people to fall, right? Watch this.
And the great city was divided into three parts, and the cities of the nations fell. And great Babylon came in remembrance before God to give unto her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath. And every island fled away, and the mountains were not found. And there fell upon men a great hail out of heaven, every stone about the weight of a talent. And the men blasphemed God because of the plague and the hail, and the plague thereof was exceedingly great.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
That's it, right? So you look at it, and those are the events that leads up. There's of course more that we'll get into when we get into Revelation through our Bible or through our regular Sabbath study. You know what I'm saying? Once we get out of the gospel and get through the epistle letters, you know what I'm saying? But we look at what happens here, and our people are set up. This is where Yahushua actually comes back, and he kills these people with the word of his mouth, right? But this is all just the tabernacle. There is so much more that is yet to come as it relates to the temporary dwelling places before New Jerusalem comes, before our bodies are changed. And we have to be able to put ourselves in the right mindset, right? When it comes to what does Yah require of us, right? Is to trust him even though we're hungry, trust him even when it's hot, trust him even when it's cold, trust him when it seems like it's about to be over, right? And trust is not just some mental thing. Trust is, I'm going to do what you say, even when it looks like I'm walking myself into death, right? And that's the calling that we all have on us. And it's up to us to answer that calling. It's up to us to obey the Most High God and to live according to his purpose, right? Not everybody will. Not everybody's going to want to, right? But at the end of the day, it is up to us.